Good morning, friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Today is going to be just a big mix of a lot of things that I need to get done. So come do a day of farm work with me. So today is Wednesday. I missed filming over the weekend. Mike and I went out to the farm to do some work, and I'll show you when we get out there today what we did. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it was productive. And Monday I had to have my physical, and so I had blood work done, but mostly the important part is that I had my flu and my first shingles vaccine. And so I knew that was going to knock me for a loop. Vaccines always do. So yesterday was a fever and headache day, but today I feel fine. And even though it sucks to miss a day or two, feeling unwell from getting these shots, it's way better than getting the flu, which I have had a number of times, and way better than the shingles. So in January, I'll go back and get my final shingles shot, which supposedly everybody I've talked to said that one hits them the hardest. So I schedule these things during my downtime so that it's okay if I miss a couple days. All right, I've got the hoe in the car because that's one of the things I need to do. I need to cultivate at the farm. Let's head out there and I'll show you what we did on Sunday and start doing some work, but also prepping for something that's coming next week. So on Sunday, we came out and first we went to Fish Ranch in the morning. While we were there, we got a whole bunch of bricks and all the rest of the T-posts from the fence. So the bricks we're using to hold down this floating row cover, which is working way better than the wood because I'm putting one brick at each hoop. It smells like dead animals so badly out here. I don't know where it is, but whew. Okay, so we got that, we got the bricks, we got more T-posts, almost all of the 8-foot ones that were still on the fencing. We also got the IBC tote, which fit into the back of the truck, no problem. And then we came out here, and I'll show you what we did after I uncover all these guys. Yeah, there's nothing left over here. No stock left, it's all gone. Which means something's still getting under there and eating it. Yeah, the snapdragons look okay, but I am totally amazed in an unhappy way at how much grass is coming up in these beds. It's just nuts. All right, so let me show you. All right, we've got snapdragons, a bunch missing here. This is also snapdragons. I mean, there's still some in there, but a lot are missing. And there's tons of grass, which that's fine. I'm gonna come and hoe it. That's why I have the hoe out today. This is all snapdragons. Yeah, a lot of them are missing. Down here we have Clarkia, which all seems to still be here. And Cynoglossum, which seems to still be here, and Ammimagus, which is still mostly here. Over here, this was all stock, and it's almost all gone. So I don't know, birds, rodents. Yep, so it's time to put the trap out again. Yeah, because look here, see that? Okay, so that's not birds. That is definitely digging animals. That means the deterrent is not working. So it's time to set out some serious traps. I tell you what, it's a constant battle. So here's the status. There's only a few who survived, but they're getting bigger, so that's good. This is feverfew. Okay, and then this is strawflower, which is looking good. Daucus, Orlea, more strawflower. So the strawflower is looking all right. And this is stock here that's somehow surviving. So I've got the bucket trap equipment here. I'm going to set that up. I need to get some bait for it though, but I am going to set that up and hope that I can catch. But what I'm worried about is that it's moles or voles. So voles are vegetarian. They live underground. They only eat plants. Moles are actually carnivorous. Well, they're omnivores. So they'll eat insects and things like that as well. Yeah, so a lot of stuff missing from these beds. The ranunculus, still looking okay, but again, I need to weed. So before I start that, let me give you a continued tour. So what we did on Saturday is we came and put in 2 posts. Now these are line posts, so these are for like they're not corner posts, they're not cemented in. They have these sleeves, 1.5 foot long sleeves that you have to hammer into the ground. And when I say hammer, I mean hammer. Our ground here is so hard. It's a lot of effort, and we can't even get them all the way in. But like, here's one of the sleeves. That should be level with the ground surface, but that's as far as we could get. And the top starts to mushroom out, even with the tool they gave us. So then we have to bend it back. It's really a pain, but these things are in there. They're not going anywhere. So we have one right here, which is kind of midway, but the reason we put it here and the other one over there is that I can then enclose all of these beds more easily, and we can work slowly over the winter to get all of this fenced in, because that's a lot of it's a lot of fencing. So over the next couple days, what I need to do is try to hammer in some more sleeves here, and if that doesn't work, I'm just going to use the T-posts just so we can get these beds enclosed and I can get the rest of the ranunculus planted. But I would like to be able to hammer in more sleeves. The amount of work that requires with a sledgehammer, it's almost like I can only do like 2 or 3 and then I'm done. All right, so we did that, and then we consolidated the compost pile. It was a lot bigger. Mike made it more compact. We covered it with this tarp, which is actually from Billboard Vinyls, I think. I'll put the link below. But this tarp, which is huge, it's a billboard, is basically, we're using it as a recycled product. It was $80, and silage tarps can be hundreds of dollars. So it's great. It works the same way. It's thick, and we'll be able to use it for many years. So we did that. And then we also installed the IBC tote. It's up on top of cinder blocks. And so what I need to do now is, so I know the measurement for the gutter, but now I need to come up with I need one of those flexible tubes to get down here. I need to create a screen on top, which is no problem. I have window screening, so that I can keep things from getting in there. And ideally, I would get all this done in the next couple days because, and I mentioned earlier, something's coming next week. It's not a product, it's something that I'm excited about, but a little anxious about, is our first atmospheric river of the season. We're projecting, so it should be Tuesday through Thursday next week. 2 to 3 inches of rain over that time period. And because it's the first one of the season, then we did get a little bit of rain last weekend, but it was like a 1/4 inch. But because the soils are not currently saturated, that should mean that we don't have to worry about any major runoff or flooding or anything like that. Our storm drains should be able to handle it. And it basically is kick-starting us for the season. The Sierras are going to get a huge amount of snow, which is very exciting, always. And if I get this thing set up in time, I could really go a long way of filling this tote. Again, this IBC tote is 275 gallons, and I think it will fill relatively quickly, even though the roof is not huge. And if I want to get a second one out here, I totally can. I could put it on the other side, put a gutter on the other roof. And so these will be back to back. There's a spigot down here that you could open and close, obviously, but then also I can attach an actual like hose spigot to it so that I can attach hoses and other things to it. So yeah, I think this is going to work out great. I just need to get all the parts. So first, I got to take care of that weeding, cultivating in the garden, because it is a mess. So much grass. I don't know if it was coming up from below or if it's seed in the compost pile, which seems weird. I don't think it's the compost because the compost got wet and there's nothing growing out of it. And And it was hot when it arrived. So I think it's just coming up from underneath the compost, because there's only like 2 inches of compost there. So the grass seeds are happy. And now that they got a tiny bit of rain and they've been getting irrigation water, they're just bursting forth. So gonna go hoe, and then we'll come back and talk about how we're going to manage these parts. But before that, I think we'll hoe, and then we're going to see if I can hammer in a couple of sleeves. I'm hoping that a little bit of rain that we got percolated down a bit and made the ground a little bit softer, but I doubt it. I think we're going to have to wait till after this coming atmospheric ripper. Well, that was a lot more challenging than I had anticipated. I actually had to switch over to my handheld hoe instead of the stand-up hoe. Yeah, this is crazy. I'm looking at everywhere where I just went and it looks like I haven't done anything. It's so nuts. Like for instance, here, I actually did use my hoe all throughout here, and there's still stuff standing. So I am not used to dealing with grass in my growing beds. I have always had grass in the pathways come up as a weed, but never in the growing beds. So this is very challenging because if I come in here too heavy-handed with the hoe, then I tear up all of these baby seedlings. Like that's a ranunculus right there. If I try to go down to get the roots of these grasses, then all that's happening is I'm tearing up, and that happened a couple times, I had to replant them, I'm tearing up the seedlings. So normally the types of weeds that I get are just these little, I don't know, like these guys here. And those come up easily with a hoe, or with your fingers. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to cultivate frequently. I don't know if they'll ever get better, because unlike things that go to seed, most of these grasses spread by rhizomes. And so just pulling them up is kind of like just mowing the lawn, unless you really get the roots, then they're just going to continue to be a problem. Like I said, I came through here with my hoe, but I didn't want to go super deep because I was afraid of pulling up seedlings. So I feel like I just spent an hour doing this and made no progress. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is, I mean, some of the ranunculus are doing well, but I'm super anxious, guys. So this whole area of stock is now completely gone, which I can replant, but not until the spring. This is also stock here, or was. There's nothing in here right now, so I was able to be a little heavy-handed. From this line right here all the way up is ranunculus, and it's doing okay. It's starting to leaf out, which is good. And then this little section here is snapdragons. And down here is, this whole row is snapdragons, I think. We've got a little bit of stalk left here. Straw flower is doing okay. Yeah, so I'm getting anxious because a lot of this stuff clearly being eaten. This Amimagus? No, Orlea and Amimagus. Straw flower, you know, I just want them to get a little bit bigger so they can survive the winter. The feverfew is looking good. I'm afraid to say this, but normally I don't have a problem with things eating feverfew. Probably because it's slightly toxic, so they just avoid it. But the Clarkia looks like it's still doing okay. And Cynoglossum is also mostly doing okay. So, I mean, I just have to, I guess, and that's Amimagus, I guess I just have to take heart of the things that are still growing. And I think that means I'm going to change my gardening plan a little bit. So, in the areas, you know, when these get a little bit bigger, it'll be more clear to see where I need to come in and replant. But I'm going to need 2 beds back here for the ranunculus. So those are definitely going to go in. And I might either transplant or do direct sowing in these areas that just got annihilated. You know, the back beds here haven't had any irrigation, only rain once. And there's 0 grass growing. So I'm sure this is all coming from underneath here. But that, I mean, it's understandable. This was just an empty field. So I know I'm going to be battling weeds. I just didn't anticipate grass. That one's harder, much harder to deal with. Okay, so when I say ground sleeve, I mean this. It's really long. It's got divots here so that when you bury this in the ground up to here, you put the pole in and it stops right here. These are hard to get in the ground. You need a sledgehammer and one of these. But it still mushrooms the metal around the top, and then you have to bend it out in order to get the pole in. So let's see if there's been any difference with the rain. This first part is always fairly easy, and then it just kind of stops and it feels like you're just hitting it for no reason because it's not going anywhere. We do have use of the electric shovel. However, the different attachments on there only go about this deep. And so that would only get us to about this far in the ground. We tried it. We ended up having to hammer in the rest anyway. So we're just starting from scratch. Good news is they are so solidly in the ground that they're not going anywhere. It's effectively the equivalent of cementing it in with a lot more work. Yeah, see, I'm already starting to mushroom the pole there. This is a total workout. And you feel like you're getting nowhere. All right, I think I'm gonna call that. We'll try it again after the rains. I mean, I did get it in a little bit, but probably only 8 inches or so. This needs to be almost flush with the ground. And with the amount of mushrooming that's going on, I won't be able to put the pole in there anyway if I keep going. Even though I pretty much knew it. That means I'm just gonna go ahead and put up the T-posts today for extending these the netting. And I will put the netting up tomorrow, but yeah, I wanna at least get the T-posts in the ground because that's an effort too. But we do have plenty of them. I need to get into better shape. That was really hard. My arms are like all shaky now. So I think tomorrow's plan is to extend the fence. I'll take this off here. I'll cut it at the corner and extend it along and just enclose the whole thing. I've got plenty of fencing. I've got about 600 feet. So more than enough to enclose this little area. And then tomorrow I will also run the irrigation to these beds. And if I still have time, which I don't know if I will, tomorrow, maybe it'll be Friday, I will transplant the ranunculus, the final ones. All right, so before we go today, and I'll have to come back out here later to put the bait in, but this is the bucket trap. So here's the lid. This is the bait trap where you're gonna put I'm gonna put peanuts and sunflower seeds and peanut butter. That's what they recommend in there. And then you have these two ramps go up the sides. They snap in. I'll need two hands to do this, but anyway, they snap in here. Mice and rats crawl up the thing. They come over here to try to get at the feed, and it's a counterbalance. It drops and they fall in and they can't get out. So this kit came with two of these, so I'm gonna set one up at home as well, and I'm gonna bait the ratinator tonight. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll catch some guys. Yeah, it's not. I don't want to kill them, but I'm tired of them eating all my stuff. All right, I'm gonna snap these things on and go home and have some food. And then I'm gonna come back out this afternoon and put the bait in here. I'm also going to find a hardware store. The first place I stopped the other day didn't have the parts that I need for the water catchment. So I need to go to another hardware store and see if they've got the stuff that I need so that I can do that hopefully tomorrow, if not, definitely on Friday. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden and things are going well for you and you're not battling grass, weeds in your beds. Have a great time in your garden and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.